Alright, here we go. This is day one with my newest pupil, Paco. He's a three-year-old Andalusian cross. He's owned by a lady that rides for another gal. I just did a horse called Rumba, and she was a pretty easy colt. We got her started, and she's going pretty well. This guy here is going to be a little bit more of a challenge, I think. He's 3 years old. He's doesn't have a lot of manners. He'll drag you around on the halter pretty good. He likes to run through you. Doesn't respect the person that's on the end of the lead. So we're going to start off with him just by giving him some round pen work here, trying to get him to hook on, be a little more respectful, learn how to get out of your space and not try to run you over. And that's how I start. You know, every colt or every horse that I'm working with will start out in the round pen with some hooking on and some basic knowledge of respect of my space and how to move their feet and move their legs and get out of my way. So with that, we're going to get started with him. Now, I worked with him a little bit yesterday. Just when he first came in, I stood here in the arena or in the round pen and just let him trying to get used to things and see if he would come over here and check me out and kind of pay attention a little bit. And I'm going to do that this morning again too. See if I can get him to look up, pay attention, and come over here and check me out. Because I don't want to have to run this horse to death to try and get him to understand what I want. But you can see he comes over here and then he tries to take a nibble on you and he just kind of fades off and goes back to doing his own thing. So the whole object of this round pen work is to get him to understand that when he's not with me, when he's not with me and not being respectful, I'm going to make him move his feet, and I need to make him to understand that I'm the one moving his feet and becoming the herd leader in this herd of two. So we're going to get him going here a little bit if we can and get him moving out. This horse initially strikes me as one that can get a little bit of a sharp attitude with you and not listen or try to muscle you around. So I got to be careful with him and keep an eye on him and make sure that he ain't one that's going to get mad and try and run over the top of me or get balled up and start kicking and biting. I need him to move until he understands I'm making him move and he's not just stopping to get out of doing what it is I'm trying to do with him here. I'm looking for the signs that he's going to give me that he's paying attention. Right now he's kind of looking out the pen and trying to figure out how to get out of here. But I want him to start cocking that ear back here to me like he's paying attention. I want him to look at me a little bit. When I get his nose coming off that rail a little bit and ask him to come in, then I'm going to take this pressure off and ask him to come around here. And come in and hook on. This guy's got a little bit of a defiant attitude, so I can draw him in probably pretty easy here, but I'm going to work him a little bit more just to make sure that he understands who's going to run the show here from here on out. I'm going to come from side to side here, see if I can direct his attention, get those hips to move away a little bit, come back around here. One of the main things that I want to do with this horse is I want to make sure when I got his attention that he knows and respects me enough to move those hips away when I move from side to side. I'm going to start kissing to him when I ask him to move, because that's going to be the signal that he gets when I ask him to move his feet later on in his training. He's starting to get a little more focused here. But because this horse is a little bit defiant and a little bit belligerent, I'm going to be a little tougher on him right off the bat, because I want to make dang sure that I have his respect and his attention, or else nothing else is going to go right. You might be able to see the steam coming off of him. That's because before I got here this morning, he got himself all spooled up. Tried to tear the round pen down this morning because the mares went out that were in here with him. Get going. Tried to tear the round pen down, and Cindy had him tied up, keep him under control until I got here, and then I put him back in the pen. So he was a little bit warm to start with. It's not that he's worked or we cut anything out of this. It's not that he's worked that hard. He's just got himself balled up and nervous and carrying on before I got up here. Let's see if I can get him to come in here again. See, he thought about changing his mind there and leaving. You know, he's starting to figure it out. I'm going to ask him to come back around. Lost his attention there a little bit. But I'll give him a chance to think about this. See if he wants to come back over here. Nope. So we make him move his feet again. Lost his focus, and he hasn't quite figured out that staying over here with me is a better deal than working around this round pen. He strikes me as a pretty smart little horse. He's picked this stuff up pretty quick. And it'll probably take a couple more sessions here with him before he figures out this ain't 7 games and cookies and candy like you see on a lot of TV shows. These horses are big and tough, some of them, and they can hurt you if you don't pay attention to what you're doing and get their respect. And I'm not asking him to do anything more than respect me as the herd leader. Stay out of my space, just like he'd have to do with a lead mare or a lead gelding in a herd. When you're in the pen here, you're a herd of 2. And you better be the herd leader, because if you're not, they're going to be. Especially a horse like this. See, he also has to understand that his only buddy for the time being is going to be me. And all those other horses out there ain't going to help him. I'll see if I can draw him from over on that side. Still a little bit distracted, but he's coming along. Figuring out where my space is. But not quite. So we'll get after him for that. That's not acceptable. Now he's going to have to work a little bit harder. See what I told you? My stuff's raw and uncut. You're not going to see the edited fancy version where everything goes perfect. This horse and what I do, you're going to see what happens with him. And that's some pretty cocky-ass behavior right there. So we're going to give him a little bit to think about for being that ornery. This horse has been spoiled. This horse has been spoiled. He hasn't had much done to him. Not even really halter broke well. But he's been petted on and fed cookies and allowed to push people around and run over the top of them. And that's all stuff we have to fix from the poor handling before we even get started on real constructive colt starting. It's not like the perfect version that you see where everything goes perfect and they cut out all the stuff like this to make it look magical and fancy. I want to make dang sure those hips go away. So I don't want to walk up here and have him blast me in the face like he probably would his owner. Sometimes this round pen work only takes 10-15 minutes with a horse that really likes being around people and is easygoing and gentle, and sometimes it takes a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes it takes a couple, 2 or 3 days to get these horses convinced that you're not going to put up with their shenanigans, and they're going to have to toe the mark and learn how to mind and behave. He is only 3 years old, so he is a youngster, and I don't work any horse for hours and hours and hours. I'm going to give him a chance to pick up a little bit at a time here. When he gets it, we get to a spot where he's being respectful, I'm going to give him some slack and let him take a break for 5 minutes or so. Think about what it is he did right to get me to leave him alone. and then we'll move on again. I think with this guy, we might do a little rope work with him today too, right now. He's a little bit distracted still. He's picking up a little bit of it, but he's also still a little bit defiant. So I'm going to put a rope on him so that I can direct him a little bit better. See what he does with the rope. And I can keep his attention here a little bit by just pulling a little bit. Kind of get him settled down. I'm not dragging, I don't want to drag him around, but I use this rope as a bit of a direction and a bit of a educational tool to keep his attention. It'll also help me with his halter work when we get back into the halter work and the ground work. And you can do this. You don't have to be a roper to do this. You can put the lariat rope on a horse like this and get him started like this to start with the lariat rope already on him. Just gives you a little bit of a tool, a little more. A little better way of getting their attention. And with a horse like this, that's used to having his own way, it gives you a little bit better tool to work with. See, now he's kind of balling up and he doesn't want to move, doesn't want to go forward. So I ain't going to pull him forward. I'm just going to keep directing his feet here. Convince him that he needs to be over here and come with me. And pay attention. The main thing I got to reinforce with him today is respect and manners. I ain't really looking for him to truly hook on. I want him to understand that he's not going to take advantage of me like he's taken advantage of everybody else that he's been around. Like I said, we're unscripted and we're uncut and we're raw video. So you're still going to see the chickens coming around the round pen and the dogs, and you'll hear them barking in the background once in a while. Hopefully with our new audio system here, you'll get a better idea of what I'm saying and talking about. But you're still not going to have a movie. Boy. That's where the advantages of the rope come in. You can kind of get their attention a little better. Give yourself a tool to work with, something visual. Pull them around a little bit if you need to. He's still pretty bothered about where everybody is, though. But at least he's listening a little better now. Get your butt over there. See, with that kicking stuff that he was doing and the striking out stuff he was doing with this rope down by his legs, this is one of the most important things that I have to get him to understand, is how to be a gentleman and not start kicking everything that comes by him, or striking or pawing. Cindy said he tried to bite her, tried to put the halter on him this morning, which doesn't surprise me because he tried to take a nip on me yesterday too when we brought him in here. How long we been going there, sweetie? About 15 minutes or so? 22 minutes? Okay. We're going to cut that little section off right there. I'm going to turn him loose and give him a little bit of a break. Then we'll come back and reinforce this side, and then we'll work the other side. What it's very important to do with this round pen work is stay focused on one side at a time. You want to get them thinking and going on one side real good, get them hooked on before you turn around and start doing it the other way. Because they're not thinking or seeing or reacting the same way on both sides of their head. So we've done his right side there a little bit. I'm going to come back and reinforce that, and then we'll start working on his left side.